on in a long time. And the only reason I'm coming on today is because, I had some things on my heart that I felt like I needed to share. And not because I feel like I have something important. I guess it is it's very important actually. Um, but I have not been on this channel because I've just been really trying to focus on my life and living my life and not getting views and trying to monetize or whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to call it, my channel. Because when it comes down to it, it's really not that important to me. It takes a lot of time away from my relationship with my family, my relationship with God, most importantly. And I've just noticed, and I just not just noticed, I've noticed it, and I'm sure everybody has, how strange times are and how strange the world is. And, I started thinking, I work for the post office, and used to be the post office was a desirable job to have. It pays very well. There's great benefits, and I mean it is challenging, and it's challenging more today because of all the Amazon packages and things like that we have to deliver. But I started thinking, where's everybody at? Like, where are the workers? Where are the people that want jobs? And I started thinking that, okay, people of the younger generation, even people of my own generation, and I'm guilty of this too, we are looking towards, instead of working a normal 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever job, we want to work from home, which I don't, I feel like if that allows you to stay at home with your children instead of putting them in a daycare or something, go for it. I'm not opposed to that in any way. But this also, because you have to see the big picture here, like who runs the internet, who runs Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all of that. It's the elites, right? So their primary goal is control. And their primary goal is AI. And if that is their goal, to get people out of the workforce and in their homes, isolated, if we're going to continue with post office jobs, restaurant jobs, teaching jobs, whatever it is, you got people quitting their jobs. You got people quitting lucrative jobs like in nursing, the corporate world and things, to have Instagram channels and have YouTube channels and to profit off of these big companies, instead of going in the workforce, which in turn, if we're going to continue with these things, somebody's going to have to do the job, right? So that just allows or opens opportunity for them to use AI, use robots and all of that to do these jobs, because humans aren't working jobs. We're not going out into the workforce. Men aren't going out into the workforce like they used to do. Men don't have skill these days. Like, I'm so proud of the young men that have a trade. They have a skill that they can contribute, because that is so rare these days. And, it started with COVID, because, am I allowed to use that word? Whatever that is, getting people isolated and working from home and trying to find ways to make money from home. So if we're all isolated in our homes and we're all trying to make money at home, we're right where they want us to be. They want us to be isolated. They want us to be continually on the internet so they can control, so they can watch us, all of the things. And so now not only is the internet our entertainment, it's also our job, right? So we may say, "Oh, we're going to work from home so we don't have to go into the workforce and we can stay with our children." Okay. When you're at home and your primary job is on your phone or on your computer, how much time are you actually spending with your kids? Honestly, I mean, is it any different than sticking them in a daycare if you're spending 8+ hours a day on your phone trying to come up with content, trying to come up with, clever little things, to get views, and lots of the things most of the things we even see are lies. It's the internet is so deceptive. You don't even know what's true and what's a lie anymore, and that's all part of Satan's scheme, and to deceive. We can't tell the truth from a lie anymore. We see things about, "Oh, don't eat this because it's poisonous," and the things that we thought were good for us, now they're saying, "No, they're not really good. They got this and this and this in them." And then you're like, "Well, what do we eat? What do we eat?" And we don't know if that's true or if it's not true. You just don't know. And, I'm so over all of it, honestly. And I'm so convicted about it because I have my Bible at work. And every day I go to work, I'm saying, "You know what? I'm not gonna pick up my phone while I'm at work today. I'm gonna read my Bible." And then every day I'm like, "Oh, I'll do this first and I'll do that." And before you know it, like, I've been scrolling the internet, all day, and I haven't picked up my Bible one time. And it's such a distraction, and I'm so convicted over it. And people are so desensitized, and it's everyone. We're all guilty of it. We don't know how to interact with people, especially if, the ones that are younger, the younger generation that have been raised on the internet. They don't have social skills. You go to a restaurant, you go through a drive-through, and it's like, they don't know how to talk to you. It's not like, "Hi, how may I help you?" It's not that. It's like, "Yeah," or, you get your food and they don't even respond. You say thank you, there's no response. They don't know how to say you're welcome. I mean, it's such a strange time that we're living in. And it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better till Jesus comes back and he fixes it all. It's going to get worse. The Bible talks about in the last days, people's hearts are going to wax cold. I mean, we don't have normal feelings anymore, like empathy, remorse, guilt. Everybody is like, "I'm going to do what pleases me, and I don't care about anyone else." You got young people completely writing off their parents because somebody told them that their parents are toxic. And I'm not saying there's not some bad parents. There are some bad parents, and there's probably some parents that we need to distance ourselves from if they are harming us, hurting us in some way. And I'm not talking about hurting your little feelings. I'm talking about really hurtful, manipulative and all of these things. And I'm not saying that you should always write them off. Sometimes you just got to have healthy boundaries. But there's no, I don't even know what the word is. It's compassion or forgiveness. None of us are perfect parents. We all have failed, and we all need grace and mercy, because we think when our kids are young that we're doing, what's the best for them. And later on in life, they might say, "You screwed me up," and we probably all do some kind of harm, not intentionally, to our kids, but, not, I'm talking about like their mental whatever, and it's not like we do it on purpose. It's just we're not perfect. we don't handle every situation right. So then that we pass these things on to our kids, and then our kids are not perfect, so they're not raising perfect children. That's why we all need God's grace. We need God's mercy, and we just pray and ask God for direction. And we don't follow God's guidelines anymore and God's direction and his word, and we go off on our own and try to handle things our own way. Then we wonder why they don't work out. We're not doing it the way the Creator told us to do it, and he doesn't tell us to do things to keep us from having fun, or to try to put us in some kind of bondage. He does it for the opposite reason, so we don't live in bondage, and we don't live with all the regret and the pain and all of that. He does it, so he's like, follow me, I'll show you how to do it, how it's supposed to be done. So he doesn't want us to hurt, and he doesn't want us to pass our hurts on to our children. But that's a rabbit trail. But I'm saying this because we need to get back to the basics. There used to be a song, I think it was by the group called For Him, and it was called The Basics of Life, where mothers raise their children. And I know there are instances when there has to be two incomes. Okay, I understand that. We live in hard times. Everything's expensive, and it's a hard time. And I am not taking that away from anyone, because I understand that. I mean, I work, but I can say that I don't want to work, and I don't have small children at home. And I'm not saying I don't want to work because I'm lazy. I'm not lazy, but my desire is to be in my home and to take care of my home. That's where my heart is. I love to do all of the homemaking things. I love to take care of my home and decorate and make sure everybody's fed and all of that. That's where my heart's at. So for me to go out in the workforce, and I'm thankful that when my children were little, I didn't do that, and until they got of school age, and then I kind of worked a part-time job, and I still work part-time. But is it that we don't have enough, or is that we're wanting too much? Is our wants too much? When we look at the internet, we see everybody in these fancy homes, and they have, and they're always flashing all this stuff before your eyes, like all these nice clothes. And then, you're like, oh, I want that. I'm going to order that. And, oh, I like that. I'm going to order that. Think how much money we would save if we just didn't get on the internet, because all these things would not be flashed before us. And what that is, it's the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and we always want more. And if I'm guilty of it. I get on Instagram, and everything on Instagram and Facebook are advertisements. I gotta have that. That would be good for my skin. I think I'll get that. That's supposed to be like Botox. All this, and it's just, it's feeding on people's natural sinful desires, and we play right into it. And they know they got us. They know they do. I watched a video when they said, I gotta watch the time because I gotta go to work pretty soon, but our phones have become an extension of our body. We don't go anywhere without it. You go to the bathroom, you take your phone, you sit on the toilet, you scroll. You sit on the couch, you watch TV while you scroll. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. We don't know how to socialize anymore. We don't know how to sit and have a conversation without having our phone in our hand. I'm just really, really convicted about it, and I'm really praying that God will help me to fight this. And honestly, I'm not saying everything. I think the internet can be used for good, but a lot of it is just used for bad, and we're all guilty of it. And I want to be different. I don't want to be a slave to this phone. And I don't know how else to share my heart without getting on here. I thought, well, I'll do an Instagram reel, but that's what, 2 minutes, whatever. I don't care about the views. I think the more views I have and the more we can get messages out, especially about, the Lord, this is the best avenue to do it. I don't care about the views. I don't care to make a dime on it. I really, really don't care. I'm not really motivated by money. I mean, everybody likes to have some money, but I would rather have my peace of mind and the right relationship with the Lord, the right relationship with my family. That is more important to me than money. Like I said, I like to buy stuff. I love to decorate my home. I love pretty clothes, but I go to the thrift stores, honestly, and I try to get things as cheap as I can. And so money is not a big motivator for me. So I could care less if this channel ever gets monetized. I don't really care. My heart is to share whatever the Lord lays on my heart. And right now it's this. And I want to get back to the basics. We need to be mothers. We need to be wives, daughters, friends, sisters. We need to get back and work in our homes, work with our hands, make our food, work hard for what we have, share, give to others. And, the Lord's coming back. I mean, he's coming back soon. And if you're a Christian, you can feel it. I mean, you can feel it that, time is short. And if you don't know the Lord, you need to get to know him soon, because, there's not going to be any more chances once he comes back. And I believe they're going to say that there was an alien abduction, and I'm telling you, it's going to be the rapture. And when people are gone, it's not aliens. It's going to be the Lord coming back. So if you don't know the Lord, you need to get to know him, and if I would be happy to share, the Lord came and died because we're sinners. We were born into this world sinners, and sin cannot enter into heaven. We needed a perfect sacrifice, and that was Jesus Christ. And he died. He lived, he died, and then he rose again on the third day. And that's the gospel, and that's truth. And honestly, in this world today, that's the only truth that I know for sure is Jesus Christ and what he did for me, what he did for everybody. And people hate him. People hate him. And it's because of him that we have a chance to go to heaven and not hell. And it's only through him that you can go to heaven. There's no other God. There is no other way to heaven. And you need to accept him. You need to believe. You need to accept him into your life. Make him Lord of your life. And he'll save you. And you can go to heaven. You don't have to live eternally in hell. You can go to heaven. All you have to do is believe upon his name, believe the gospel. Make him Lord of your life. It's so simple. And I don't want anybody to be left here, because it's going to be worse than anybody could ever imagine. So if you want to ask me any questions, and I am not acting holier than thou, because believe me, I'm not. I'm a sinner, and I'm so thankful for God's forgiveness, for his grace and mercy every single day, because he's so good. We don't have to be perfect. We are never going to be perfect, but he loves us just the way we are. We can't do anything to earn his love, and we can't do anything to lose his love. He just is. He just loves us. So, I don't know how you can not love him back. It's an amazing, amazing gift that he's given us. So that's the end of my rant today. And like I said, if you have any questions or you want to know how you can accept the Lord, just leave me a comment and I would be happy to message you back. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.